How are you defining authoritarian? Like obviously if Trump runs in 2024, the left is going to paint him as Hitler or Mussolini or an authoritarian. And they're going to use January 6th to say this guy tried to foist a coup on the United States and therefore...
Yeah. No, it was an insurrection. We almost had a guy with a helmet with horns on it almost became the president that day.
There's better examples of kind of shady shit from January 6th than the guy with the horns, but...
Dude, there's a ton of them. Also, when BLM, that Vosh brings up, when they went to Washington, the National Guard was guarding all the buildings so they couldn't get in there. You don't have them there for the crazy people who, by the way, weren't even armed. That's the thing they wanted to happen.
Putin is an example of an authoritarian leader, but Putin wasn't elected.
Well, don't look into it too much more. I want you to stay beautiful and gold, pony boy, and just, I want you to not look into all the shit that your fucking hero Zelensky did while the Civil War they've been having for years.
So, but you're saying saying Zelensky is they're corrupt, but they're trying.
Hey, they're corrupt.
Are you saying Zelensky is an authoritarian leader?
Oh, he was well before this popped off.
Okay, so there's your example of an authoritarian leader. What is authoritarian about Zelensky?
But listen, I don't want to even throw too much shade at him because that's what we have as authoritarian.
I'm just trying to get your example.
Wait, we have authoritarian.
Yeah, he's saying Biden. He's saying Biden is an authoritarian.
Oh, how?
When they do the misinformation, disinformation, fucking bullshit, and coordinate with these fucking companies, which Biden White House actively did with all of them. Remember the Hunter Biden story?
Well, I'm thinking of
they fucking covered it up. So people get knocked off of these things all the time. Don't think the government doesn't coordinate with these companies to make it so you can't go on your PayPal or whatever they do to people. That's authoritarian.
But wait, the fact that the government would have to even collude with corporations means that they're not authoritarian. Because authoritarian means the government has sole power to do whatever they want.
Yes. An example is Putin will arrest anybody he wants to arrest on trumped up charges and then
steal all their money.
Steal all their money.
Company to like a friend or
something. Tell the judges to make sure that they never come back. Fuck with them when they're in jail. I mean, this is a regular occurrence.
How did Bill Gates become a good guy from when Adam, you're in your 60s, you look great. When you were young. Okay, when you were young and Bill Gates was the guy getting pies in his face, right? Remember when Bill Gates, I was like, I hate Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs is the cool one. Bill Gates is the fucking... How did that turn around on him? You can watch the old... there's a...
Are you saying Bill Gates was incarcerated by someone in government? I mean...
Bill Gates set up a thing and started paying everybody off how you have to once you hit a certain point so that he would stop being harassed.
Well, no, I do think that companies...
we could do it a little softer, yeah.
Big companies... Look, big companies obviously pay lobbyists so that they can get favorable legislation for their company, favorable tax treatment, all kinds of stuff like that.
Right.
But you can't compare that to Putin, who will literally target a company because he doesn't like the guy and start arresting on trumped up charges all of their senior officials. It's like night and day. Does that happen in America? Well, who is being... Look, we just had a show trial around Kyle Rittenhouse. Thankfully, Kyle Rittenhouse got off. Where are we seeing people being arrested, high-level people being arrested and incarcerated who aren't guilty?
So, okay, I just want to understand what you're saying. The thing you're worried about is the high-level pieces of shit being persecuted.
Wait.
Are you joking?
Adam's not worried.
Are you kidding with me?
Adam's not worried. Adam is saying that for it to be an authoritarian government comparable to Russia, this is what it means to be an authoritarian government. The president says, I don't like that you're talking bad about me, so I'm going to throw you in jail and steal all your money. Why
is Eric Snowden having to live in Russia if it's not authoritarian?
Because he leaked top secret government documents.
He leaked crimes. It's called whistleblowing.
I understand that, but you can't compare someone leaking top secret government documents, which you may agree with, to a private business saying, I disagree with the president, and then getting arrested and having all their money stolen.
Okay, I don't want to get into the private businesses, what they were doing, but just so you know, after the Soviet Union fell, those oligarchs were not doing nothing wrong. They were pillaging the entire country And I don't really give a shit that he did that to them at all. Those weren't like your Alexei Navalny's and that bullshit. Right. Is that what you're telling me?
Kurt, you're making my argument here. I'm saying that people are going to be so fed up with the elites that they're going to elect a Putin type that's not going to care that they're throwing people in jail for no reason. And you're here saying, yeah, I don't care if they throw people in jail for no reason. They have it coming anyway.
So look, here's the difference. Here in America, where we throw little people in jail for no reason, like a lot of them, like the most in the world, that's authoritarian to me. Well, the fact that they couldn't just legalize weed for real, and a bunch of dude.
Are we throwing people? Yeah. Okay, so the throwing people in jail for weed is. I mean, you're playing with you're so like moving the goalposts here. Obviously, weed is illegal. I don't think it should be illegal. You don't think it should be illegal. So you're saying because they're arresting people for drugs, that's throwing people in jail for no reason. I'm talking about literally throwing people in jail for something they didn't do, making up a charge and throwing someone in jail for that.
You think we don't do that here? Well, we just don't do it enough to the top.
I'm sure cops plant stuff on people. I'm sure cops do corrupt shit. I'm sure that happens. But we're talking about what level of this? Like in Russian society, this is like an everyday, every cop, every police station occurrence. In America, I would hope it's maybe 5%, maybe.
Yeah, well, keep on hoping, buddy.
Well, no,
I would hope that as well.
Kurt,
but yet it ain't like that.
Throw some numbers out. What do you think it is? You think it's like 90% of our cops are corrupt?
It's not even that the individual cops. The way the whole thing's set up is set up. Talk to anybody that's been. Oh, the guy FPS shooter Russia guy that went to prison.
I don't hear a number coming out. I don't hear you telling me like how bad is the corruption?
Look, holy shit!
Let's just hold on. Look,
are you joking with me?
Look,
are you fucking kidding me?
Kurt, let me make this perfectly clear. Do you acknowledge that there is a difference between a 5% corruption rate and a 95% corruption rate?
Yes, I do.
So there is a big difference there. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Russia has a 95% corruption rate and America has a 5% corruption rate, how are you able to say that America is just like Russia?
Well, I guess if I had to pinpoint where you're off a little bit, it would be our number of corruption rate as compared to Russia's.
That's fine. So where do you think our corruption rate is at?
Well, I don't even know what branch to start with, but I'd say it's roughly probably about the same.
95%.
Yeah. Have you heard about the Stock Act? Have you heard about how they trade insider trade? And
well, no, you're
not breaking the law. They made it legal.
Hold on. You're bouncing all over the place, Kurt. I'm talking about real corruption, and you're talking about things that are legal but you would conceptualize as corrupt. Okay. So can we, if you want,
that's not real corrupt. What is this, like semantics? It's not corruption.
Well, you're kind of the one playing the semantic game here. I'm talking about there is no law, and you're talking about a situation where you think the law should be changed.
I'm talking about a situation where the motherfuckers wrote the law so they could get away with it. That's like way worse than no law. They literally make the law and we think I read them all. Nobody reads them. Then when you go back and look at it, you realize you got fucked. So that's crazy.
I think
that's a crazy thing, dude. I guess whatever corruption means what to you? I like what do you think corruption?
Well, I think there's I think what Adam is alluding to, and I think there's a big difference between, I don't agree that senators and Congress people should be able to basically insider trading. I think that's really shitty. But I think there's a huge difference between they can buy stock, and in like a country like Russia, where they basically are all on the boards of these companies that have been nationalized and controlled by the government, and then Putin will just personally put political appointees in all these positions to rake in millions of dollars and control these companies as political favors. To me, this seems.
Are you
so
not aware of
different.
how these massive the people just go from the government to fucking Raytheon to whatever, how it works here?
That's proving my point, though. I don't understand.
Yeah, you keep making the argument or changing.
Look, I'm not
argument.
really seeing a different, like, how it would be better
because in
that
America,
a bunch of elitists are stealing and corrupt and cracking down on, especially January 6th you brought up. That's a good example of fucked up corruption done on people.
Trump won the presidency against all odds and against what most people in elite.
And what happened? And what happened with him?
But wait a minute. In Russia, Vladimir Putin, until he dies, will never not be either the president or the prime minister. And do you think that that's real? Do you think those people are really just voting for Putin en masse every time?
I have no fucking idea. I know that here,
but I mean, just to me, this is why this is a night and day situation.
Look,
what do you mean?
I think Biden should have proved to you now what the president is kind of a, like a world's greatest grandpa and not, the guy in charge, right? Like if you watch Biden just say 2 words, you can do it. You just watch a clip of him. He's out of police academy now. He's Commandant Lassard from police academy.
But that's the difference, is that in America, there's so many different keys to power. There's so many different people influencing the government.
Right.
There's so many different forces that are trying to push and pull policy into the various directions. Where in Russia, there's one force.
Yeah. In Russia, oligarchs. So these are like Yakov-Smirnov differences we're talking about, basically.
No way.
Biden cannot have his political rivals killed. Fucking killed, assassinated, incarcerated on made-up charges. That can't happen. Kurt,
they tried Trump on made-up charges over and over again.
Look, you keep going to like some one case as if it makes the case that anyone can do this thing, that anyone can be thrown in jail or incarcerated.
You think you can't? You do really believe that? You don't think anyone can be incarcerated here?
Well, wait. Good,
dude, I hope it stays that way for you forever, brother.
There was that guy, I forget his name. There was the Russian guy who was a political guy. He was trying to run against Putin, and he's assassinated in front of whatever the Russian government building is as a message, essentially. I mean, Trump... you can think or believe that the charges against him are trumped up, or you can believe they're real, whatever. But it's going to a court system in which he has not been found guilty of anything yet. It's going through a process, and he hasn't had nothing stuck to him yet. And so it just seems weird to me to compare that to literally someone shooting you in the street as a political message.
In Russia, Trump would be in jail already. Trump would be in jail, and they would be
he would
putting
be killed. But
so there would be a fake trial. He would be incarcerated for 20 years.
Listen. It's really just a matter of if you fuck with the people at the bottom or the top. So here's, I guess, a non-authoritarian country where we just crack down on the bottom, and Russia is a bad country where they attack the top people, which is authoritarian. Is that what you're telling me?
No, authoritarian. Well, no, authoritarian is what I said earlier. Is that one person controls everything versus
I really
many.
just care about the end result, which is, can I speak freely? Am I going to have?
You can't in Russia.
Can I hear?
Yeah,
I can't speak. You cannot speak freely.
We couldn't
in Russia.
we couldn't have this conversation in Russia.
Yes, of course.
If we were Russian, about the Russian government.
Okay, I don't know how long you've been on YouTube, but people have literally an entire separate language for topics so that they don't get demonetized.
This is
you know that, right?
This is a
do you
thing.
Do you think there's a scalable difference between being demonetized and going to jail forever?
Yeah.
Well, I guess with jail, you're getting like 3 hot meals or whatever a day. So there's a difference between people trying to put your ass on the street so you fucking die.
Jail is better. I love Kurt. That's awesome. Jail is actually better than being demonetized.
It's not just demonetized, dude. People try to make sure you can never earn a living again.
No, I understand. Cancel culture
is like China
awful.
shit. You ever hear what China does? That's what we got. We got the China system. It's a little more freelance. I guess that's better.
Well, no, the difference is that we have in this. We talked about Nick Rekieta, who he's got his channel back somehow, but was he got his third strike. He had those people, the Keffels people, try to get him disbarred, but he wasn't disbarred. Okay, which he might have been in an authoritarian country. And it seems like the difference is that we have right now private citizens and the media doing a lot of terrible shit, which we don't like. But you're comparing that to like China, where the government is doing things like enacting a Uyghur genocide or doing all that 1984, like their social credit score system thing.
Us. Yeah.
It just
social credit. Yeah.
It seems like you're kind of coming at it from the position that if there's any sort of taint in America, if there's any sort of corruption,
yeah, you should shut your trap. That's exactly where I'm coming
China
from. If there's any kind of taint, don't try to be righteous, motherfucker. You could be a gangster. You go, the world's dangerous. We got to be a gangster. But then don't come. I don't mean, and I know you were an Eagle Scout, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
But I don't want to hear any moral rah-rah shit from anything America. If we're gangsters, we're gangsters then. Fine. But then I want to hear, how do we fight evil? I don't want to hear that dumb shit. Both things aren't true.
Well, I think
by the way, we assassinated a bunch of people. You ever hear of Fred Hampton?
I think
here's the crime that you get killed for. And the only reason Trump wasn't killed is because they wouldn't be able to get away with it. I guess that's a little better.
Yeah,
that's the only reason they wouldn't do it.
You can get away with anything in Russia. But that's the reason that we got off on this sidetrack, I believe, because I was kind of reading something when you guys went off on this tangent, was that I thought we were asking you what was your definition of authoritarianism. And it was strange to us that you were calling America an authoritarian country. And so it's not that we're saying rah, America's the best. We're just saying, well, it's not an authoritarian country.